So wherever you are, welcome for this webinar. And today, a very specific topic, because we will talk about architecture in Paris. I'm very, very pleased to welcome Josephine, that is a young and promising and rising star in Paris. Would you introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Bertrand, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to make this webinar with you. I've been an architect for 10 years. I've been working 6 years in a very big firm in Paris, and I opened my own studio 4 years ago. We're based both in Paris and northern France, and our work focuses mainly on transformation of existing buildings, so renovations, extensions, vertical elevations, and also a lot of interior designs projects.
A very large scale of work. Congratulations, Josephine. So, as usual, we will start with Découverte, talking very briefly about Découverte before starting this webinar. As you know, this webinar is not about our website, but I really encourage you to visit our website, where you will find a few experiences, most of our hotels, villas, chalets, and yachts, and different topics. We also encourage you to visit our blog, to never hesitate to copy and paste, forward this content for your client. This is really content for you. And we switch immediately to, well, of course, some geographic here, France in the middle of Europe. And today we will talk about Paris specifically and exclusively architecture in Paris. We want to talk about why Paris is architecturally interesting nowadays, why we have period after period important architectural movements in Paris. And this is, again, a very interesting architectural movement. And to explain that, we decided, of course, that we should start from the very beginning of Paris, and we will visit Paris through the ages. Of course, the idea is to encourage you to visit Paris. So, Paris, well, we all know that Paris is a magnificent city. Paris is really a masterpiece in urbanism and planification and architecture. And we have decided that we should go, so first start with a few images regarding the period. So why is it interesting to start about Middle Age, Josephine, to start here?
Yeah, I think maybe you can show the next slide to see, because the aim also of this presentation is to show you how the evolution of Paris through time. So this map shows Paris in the medieval era. So it's organized around on both sides of the Seine River in two very iconic neighborhoods today. So the river divides the city into the left bank and the right bank that we see on the next slide.
Yes, and we see how narrow, how small was Paris. We are late Middle Age here, mid 15th century. This is a very interesting image, the expansion of the city through the ages. And the next one, yes, left and right bank. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So here we see the beautiful Pont Neuf that crosses the river with the Île de la Cité in the middle, which is very iconic in the Middle Ages, because that's where Notre Dame, the iconic Gothic cathedral, was built. So in the center of the city. So the river divides. So on the left bank, we have Le Marais, which is the very historical neighborhood of Paris. And on the right bank, there is the neighborhood of Saint-Germain-des-Prés and Saint-Michel, which is known mostly for all its intellectual and artistic heritage, with very famous cafes where all the poets at the time were meeting
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
and
mm-mm. And here, Notre-Dame de Paris.
yes,
So Notre-Dame Paris is, of course, is a masterpiece in Paris, recently renovated. A little bit difficult to visit at the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was fully restored after the big fire of in the 2019. So now to visit, it's a masterpiece. The work they done is absolutely amazing. But to visit it, it's very long line, so you have to anticipate
Yeah. So
organize it.
we on that side, while we talk about visiting Notre Dame, we really encourage you to be first online. In fact, in the morning, this is our encouragement. You come with our guide. We manage that you have access, very quick access, short in line, early in the morning. I think it's 9:30. It opens. I'm not sure exactly, but we can provide you the right timings, and we make sure that you can have an amazing visit. I was a week ago, mid-afternoon, on the main place facing Notre Dame, and that was a little bit hectic, the situation that were, but still the monument is magnificent and visiting. So Notre Dame also, Notre Dame so we are here from the 12th century to the 14th century, Josephine. We have
Yes,
a few other cathedrals in France that we encourage to people to Paris. We came our visitors to Reims. In Reims, where the most of the king have been were crowned. Also, we have Beauvais. We have different cathedrals of the same flamboyant period. So this is a late Gothic period here, and this is absolutely the best period in this. So I stop here my comments. Sorry,
no
Josephine, to
worries.
interrupt you on that side. Yeah.
If we stay in the Gothic period, in front of Notre Dame, there is this huge medieval palace that was also used as a revolutionary prison that is very beautiful on the Seine. And of course, maybe you know on the Sainte-Chapelle, which is absolutely worth the visit, which is known for its glass painted windows.
Stained glasses.
Stained glasses, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I, I didn't
Yeah.
actually.
So, as a visit, sorry, I come back on we have two opposite business here on the table, Josephine. While we talk architecture, I talk visits. I highly encourage you, if you have some money, to visit off hours, Sainte-Chapelle. Just imagine in the morning, before you are almost alone, if not alone, in Sainte-Chapelle in the morning with the sunlight, sun rising in Paris, and you have this light, the stained glasses. This is absolutely magnificent. That was that is really worth the money and the time spent here in Sainte-Chapelle. This is a once in a lifetime experience. When it comes to pure Gothic experience, again, and the elevation here is incredible. So this is an incredible monument. And if you are well guided, and no doubt you will if you come with us, that's a moment for you guys. We jump to the next one.
Yes.
Next one.
So the Louvre was actually a fortress, built as a fortress in the Middle Ages, and then it became the King's Palace, and today it's a museum. But it's of course one of the iconic building of Paris, and also it stands in front of the Tuileries Garden, which is a classical garden made by Le Nôtre, a very famous landscape architect, and that opens through one of the most famous urban perspective of Paris, because it opens the Louvre through the garden Tuileries, through the Champs-Élysées, the very famous avenue, and then other buildings that we will see later. So it's an axis, a very historical axis to visit in Paris.
Yeah. And so if you want to see the start of the fortress, we can visit, we can see a few foundations. Huh? Of course, the Louvre should not be presented, but we highly remember that the Louvre is also Josephine said, it's many different periods, so it's very interesting to visit the Louvre with the eyes of an architect, not only come and see the masterpieces. And for example, we can visit the foundation, the start. We have a few places when you can see really the start of the fortress of the Louvre, which is very interesting to be seen. And facing the Louvre, so these magnificent gardens that you were talking about, and designed by Le Nôtre. We jump into now the next period, Josephine, which is now the 18th, 17th, and 18th century, the period of Louis XIV, Louis XIV, Louis XV, and Louis XVI. So we should start with Palais de Versailles.
Absolutely.
So why is that a masterpiece, architectural masterpiece?
It's Versailles Castle was built by Louis XIV because he wanted to have all his courts in the same place because the Louvre was too small. So it's a very impressive classical architecture castle that really like it really was the bit. It's a bit out of Paris, but it's very easy to reach, and it opens in front of the gardens of Versailles, which are also made by the Le Nôtre, so the same as the Tuileries Garden. And it's the typical garden à la française, so French garden landscaping. Yeah.
Just for you to, if you come to talk about visiting Versailles, just to remind you that of course, we have access to the private apartment of the king and the queen. Recently, a new masterpiece was launched with the bed and the bedroom of Louis XIV that was completely restored and recently reopened to the public. Which promises to be, I have not seen that, I have to tell you, but that promises to be absolutely incredible. Also, we have a very exclusive access to the Queen Hamlets. The Queen Hamlets, Petit Trianon and Grand Trianon opens normally at 2 p.m. and we have an exclusive access where you could be alone in the Queen's Hamlets, Petit Trianon, Grand Trianon, for a few thousand euros, 4 of you guys. And this is something, again, which is very exclusive and very nice to be done once in a lifetime. Again, La Grande Galerie, if you stay in the next hotel that you know, they have access to La Galerie des Miroirs exclusively for you after hours. And this is also absolutely incredible. So we also encourage you to stay in that hotel and to have this access. To be alone in that place is just absolutely amazing. Josephine, we are back to Paris with the Palais Royal and its gardens. So we are now in a completely the same periods.
Yeah, same period, but it's behind the Louvre, so it's very central. And this place is mostly known for its covered, how do you say, galleries? Yeah,
galleries. Yeah, you're right.
That are very beautiful around this interior park. So if you cannot pass in front of it, so you have to know the passages and shortcuts to arrive in this. But once you're in there, it's one of the most quiet and beautiful place in Paris.
Yeah. So for the fashionistas in these shops, because you have shops in the galleries here. You have
Yes.
the former shop of Didier Ludo, the emperor of the vintage fashion. And if you turn, that's something that you can saw here. You have the Beren columns that was set in 1992, I think, or in this period. I'm not sure exactly about my dates, but this is really a place to be visited. This place is absolutely magnificent, and this is really the pure architecture of this period, right,
Yes.
Josephine? This is a
Yeah.
very pure example. A-
Classical
Very
French.
classical, yeah. Very classical French. Exactly. Another masterpiece, which is Le Palais des Invalides. So, Josephine, what should we say about this
Yes.
place?
It was commissioned by the King Louis XIV to house invalid soldiers, and it's very present. How the strong landmark of the city of Paris, uh, thanks to its golden dome, which also opens into a very nice perspective. In front of it, it's very close by the river, and there is this beautiful bridge, Alexandre III. So it's a very beautiful walk and promenade, even if you don't go inside. It's a very beautiful walk.
Yeah, just to let you know, we decided to squeeze all the bridges in Paris, including the Pont Alexandre III that was designed late 19th century, which is absolutely a masterpiece as well. And what we have here in front of us is the place where Napoleon is buried.
Yes.
So Napoleon and l'Infante, which is something to be really visited. Just to let you know, we have a very nice tour on that regard, lecture about Napoleon and Josephine. Not exactly the same that is talking with us today, because Josephine was the person that really helped as a couple Napoleon to jump to become the emperor and to get into office. So this story is absolutely amazing, and this is also related to a chateau in Saint-Germain where Josephine stayed, and which is also a masterpiece, architectural masterpiece that we can't talk today. And we jump now in a different period. So now with new century, new periods, new landmark in Paris, which is the Haussmannian period, Josephine. So
So
yeah.
in the 19th century, there is a very famous political figure called Haussmann that completely transformed the city and the urban planning of Paris. In the next slide, you can see a map of Paris at this period. So you see how it was
The
developed.
expansion,
Yeah,
yeah.
the expansion since the Middle Ages. And Osman had two priorities. One was military and one was sanitary, because the hygienic movement in Europe started in the 19th century after very big epidemics in the cities that were very,
Very important, yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
Uh, yeah. Many people were still practicing the French shower. So this is a joke, but this is true, by the way. Okay, sorry, Josephine.
no
Yeah, for
worries.
the bad joke. Yeah.
So next slide, you can see an example of Haussmannian avenues that are much bigger than the medieval Paris, because buildings are made by stone, so much more massive. They're higher, and the avenues are much wider for political and military reasons, more controlled, and also so sanitary reasons that I was more ventilations and all this planning.
Yeah, and we can
reservation.
say that most of what is Paris now is also coming from this Haussmannian period, right?
Yes,
We are
absolutely.
surrounded by Haussmannian buildings. It is
Yes.
just amazing what they did in 20 years, finally in 30 years.
Mm. And one of
And that, yeah.
yeah, sorry.
No, no, sorry.
No, no, the one of the so this is one of the landmark of this period, the Arc de Triomphe, which stands in the perspective that I was talking earlier through the Louvre, the Tuileries Garden, the Champs-Élysées, and then the Arc de Triomphe. That is a central point of very important western avenues of Paris. And in the next
Yeah.
slide.
And should we mention that Mr. Trump has decided to build an Arc de Triomphe in Washington, D.C.? Yeah, this is soon to come. And within the next 2 years, that you will start having this monument in Washington, D.C. And a masterpiece of
Yes.
this late period. Yes, the
Yes,
Opéra Garnier.
it's also the period where Parisians start going to the opera house, and so this opera Garnier is very iconic of this century, and it has been renovated recently. It really worth to to go for a concert. Yeah, it's a very
Mm-mm,
beautiful
mm-mm,
space.
mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. As well, we encourage you to go to La Comédie Française, close to the Louvre. Just
Yes.
if you want to, La Comédie Française, this monument is closed for renovation at the moment. But just to let you know, if you want to see, so this is about classic theater pieces, but this is completely translated in English in real time, so you can follow the pieces if you want to go to La Comédie Française. Here's just to mention the Opéra Garnier. Of course, we do a lot of different visits. Some still the Phantom of the Opera is here, and we do a lot of visits on that theme. The story is that Opéra Garnier was built on not on the river but on the lake. You had a lot of water under that was discovered under the building, and they had to create huge basins under the building to maintain the water floating here. And this is where the story is coming. So this is a very interesting building to be visited. Also, we can take you the backstage. We have a lot to offer here in this place, of course. And this is under magnificent. And this is a magnificent building, really. A little bit rococo, huh? Yeah, right?
Yes. Baroque. Yeah. And of course, the 19th century is known for the Industrial Revolution period, and Paris hosts the Universal Exhibition where the Eiffel Tower was built. It was actually supposed to be demolished after, but they kept it, and now it's it's the biggest landmark of Paris.
Mm-mm.
That you cannot.
Yeah, and just under you see another monument that we could have shown as well,
Yes.
which is absolutely purely 18th century as well, 17th century, early 18th century, and which is absolutely as well magnificent, which is l'École Militaire. And in the same
Um,
period, at the Eiffel Tower, we had stations, train arriving in Paris, and
yes,
magnificent train stations.
yes, absolutely. The development of railroads through Paris, and this one is one of my favorite museums in Paris. Is the Musée d'Orsay, which was a former train stations train station, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. So which
It's
is
very
now dedicated to sculpture and the Impressionism period.
yes.
Americans are the big fan. I think there is zero museums in the US without one or two or three pieces from this period. This is just amazing how big fan you guys in the US you are about the Impressionism period. Yeah, and you know, in France we have zero. We have many painters that we have no more paintings here in France. They are in the US, so very often. So we cross the bridge more or
Yes.
less from this side. Huh?
Yes. Just a bit further, there is this also typical building museum from the Industrial Revolution is the Grand Palais, with its very huge glass dome and steel structures, which is typical of that period. And it also has been fully renovated with the Olympic Games a few years ago. We had a lot of renovations in Paris, so it's really the time to come visit because everything is beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of old buildings have been renovated for the occasions.
Yeah, and this building also was supposed to be destroyed as well as the Eiffel Tower, and built at the same period for
Mm.
the same events, and was supposed to be destroyed as well. The Petit Palais just facing, which is the Palais de la Découverte, which is dedicated mostly to science and new technologies and so on. So this is a fantastic family place and teenager place or tech place. This is really this is 1 century building that really was a detour, and this is not enough visited. If you have teenagers, this is one of the places to be visited in Paris for these people. And this building is really extraordinary and is a very important introduction to the architecture that we will see during the 20th century and even in the 21st century, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay, that's it as a as
Oh,
a
sorry,
comment.
sorry.
Thank you. No, yeah. Okay, we continue. We have to speed up a little bit. Sorry, I do too
Yes,
much comments.
yes. Let's.
Here, yeah, let's speed up a little bit. Yeah. So here, come on.
Yeah, no, I was
No.
saying the 20th century. So Paris is very known for its as an historical city, but there are a lot of buildings from the 20th century that are very interesting. So if you want to make a tour of 20th century architecture in Paris, there is a lot to visit. So we chose some of the projects. The 20th century starts with this Art Nouveau movement in Europe, in England, and then in Europe, which is present everywhere
In
in Paris.
Spain,
Yes, also
in
in Spain
Spain
with
as well with
Gaudi.
Gaudi. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
and in Paris, it's everywhere through the city because Hector Guimard designed all the metro entrances in this Art Nouveau style, so very organic shapes inspired by nature and
Yeah, yeah.
and
And we could
yeah.
we could visit the entire Europe through this period. In
Yes.
Spain, in Scotland, in England, in Ireland, in Belgium, in Dutchland, in
Mm.
Hungary, in France, of course. So many places. If you want to just visiting Europe through that, it's possible. And this is absolutely magnificent. Just Josephine, I'd like so this monument is absolutely extraordinary. Also, this is a configuration of again what will be the architecture in Germany. But is it influenced by the Bauhaus, or this monument was
Yes,
done in the 20s, right?
yeah, that's the Cité de Chaillot. So it
Mhm,
stands just in front of the Eiffel Tower that you can see
mhm.
actually in the reflection of the glass windows, and it's typical of the decorative art movement in the 20th. Yeah, in the 20s.
The 1920s, yeah, yeah.
1920s, and it's
Mhm,
so it arrives a bit after Art Nouveau, but
mhm,
it's very different because it's much more heavy architecture. So
mhm.
this is Art Nouveau, it, a very famous building by Hector Guimard still. that can be visited. And then there is this building, which is in the more in the art decorative art movement, like Palais de Chaillot, which is the colonial museum in the east of Paris, Palais de la Porte Dorée, who's very impressive architecture, much more massive. And if you want a very exclusive tour of decorative art in Paris, there is this beautiful swimming pool in the 16th neighborhood that is absolutely a magical place that makes you travel through time.
Which is well a four-star hotel where you can stay, and which was recently renovated, and
Yes.
which is nice as well. Huh?
Yeah.
This is an adventure. So now, art décoratif, we're just what 20 years? No, we're in the 20th year, purely in the 20th.
Yeah, it's early 19th century, 20th century, sorry. And this is one of the first building made in concrete, by concrete in Paris, by Auguste Perret, which is a very famous architect because he designed the whole city of Le Havre in Normandy, uh, with very monumental buildings in concrete. There are a few of his work in Paris, so we chose this one to show you. And then arrives the modern movement, so the Bauhaus movement that was born in Germany and then spread in Europe before the Second World War. This is absolutely a place to visit. Absolutely, it's by the famous Swiss architect Le Corbusier. It's the Villa La Roche in the 16th, so in the west of Paris. Le
That
Corbusier,
is that is open to visit. Just to let
yes.
you know, this is completely easy to visit, and we can organize also private visits if necessary, if you want to see. But this is not very visited places, and this is not always necessary, except if you want to be escorted by a curator, or an architect, and which is also a different adventure, and which could be absolutely interesting. Sorry for the interruption, Josephine.
No worries.
Next slide, yeah.
We're still staying with Le Corbusier. This is one of his building in Paris, where he actually had his own studio in the uppermost floor that you can visit as well. And the last project of Le Corbusier that is really that it incarnate all the foundations of the modern movement is the Swiss pavilion in the university campus in the 14th district that you can visit as well. I mean, it's students live there, but it's open for visits. Um,
And if you want to come to Marseille, you have La Cité Radieuse also to be visited, which is a magnificent building. So Le Corbusier has as well villas in Western Paris. So there is a lot to be visited about Le Corbusier in this period in Paris.
And this is a
And
famous street in the 16th neighborhood, so in the west, made by Mally Stevens, typical of modern architecture as well. And it's a very beautiful street to walk through and visit. It's a very quiet neighborhood, and it's very nice
mm,
to.
I don't know if you guys you have this feeling, but with this flow of images and period, we can see now where we come from as well. In the US, you can recognize some of these buildings. Not the same absolutely, but we can see in Chicago, in New York, in places like that, you have buildings that has related to this architecture.
So this is one of my favorite projects in Paris. If you don't know about it, you will never find it because it's in a courtyard, so you cannot see it from the street. It's in the 7th district, so very central. It's the Glass House by Pierre Charot. That can be visited. It's not open every time, but they organize visit. Uh, yeah, if they're planned, and you can visit it both by night or by day. It's two very different experiences, but it's really worth the visit. It's very beautiful. lot of surprises inside. And this is a major landmark of Brazilian modern architecture. The famous Brazilian architect Oscar Niemeyer that did the French Communist Party headquarters in the north of Paris.
So
Uh,
Niemeyer is the guy that created Brasilia, basically, designed most of the big official building in Brasilia. And in the Le Havre that you mentioned, Niemeyer also did quite a lot after war to restore the city and to reconstruct the city. Sorry for the interruption.
no, absolutely no worries. So it can be visited as well. It's a very beautiful project with this white concrete dome and this glass building
Yeah.
behind.
I've used that I've never visited, and this is one of my projects to take the time to go and visit
Mm,
this building, which is a piece of art. Huh?
yes.
And and okay,
Yes.
we are now in the 17th. So you have something
Yes.
special to say about that building, right?
I wanted to show this because this is
Yeah.
the first tower that was built in the center of Paris. So you can imagine how political the construction was and still is. So it's the Tour Montparnasse that is actually is going to be renovated by a firm I used to work for. So in a few years, the facade will be completely transformed. But it's a very emblematic project of Paris because of its vertical yeah, its height in the center, and
Yeah.
you see just close to the dome of the Invalides, the Golden Dome, like the very beautiful landmarks.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you personally worked very extensively in your previous practice about on the renovation of what will become the new Tour
yes,
Montparnasse. That
yes,
is the only tower within the Paris, in fact.
yes. Well,
So
at the time, at least.
yeah,
Now there are some more, but in the
yeah,
'70s it
yeah.
was.
In the 12th district, we have a couple of yeah, yeah, which is a bit weird to have that in Paris.
And
Renzo
another,
Piano.
yes, so this is the other craziest, I think, architecture building of in Paris. It's a very strong gesture. It's the Pompidou Center by Renzo Piano and Richard Rogers that was built in the center of Le Marais. So Le Marais is this historical neighborhood we saw at the beginning. And so they designed a building where everything that usually is hidden inside building is they decided to show it in the facade. So all the ventilation pipes, the circulation, um, and everything, and the structure. So everything is appearance. So the building becomes a living machine, and it's actually being renovated. So it's closed at the moment, but once it will reopen, it's a must go in Paris. And there's, I think, one of my favorite view of Paris from the upper floor. It's very
Yeah.
beautiful.
And there is a restaurant on the top that says Le Georges, which is the food is not absolutely extraordinary, but the view from there is it's really worth the detour, and the museum is fantastic. If you like Renzo Piano architecture, we will see in this presentation a few other pieces. But Renzo Piano uh, um, had a few major pieces in France all over the territory, including bridges, very famous Pont de Millau Bridge de Millau in the south of France that he did with Sir Rogers again. But this is a different story. And this is more recent because it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago now. Yeah. And now postmodern. So when you are in a new period just after that, so
Yes.
after the
Yes, we're in the
1970s, we
late
say, yeah.
of the 20th century. And if you are interested in postmodern architecture, there is this huge complex outside Paris called les Espaces d'Abraxas, which are made by the Ricardo Bofill architect. It's a very uh, it's an impressive complex of neoclassical,
Mhm.
postmodern architecture. And
Yeah. And you have a similar district in Montpellier, designed by Ricardo Bofill as well in the same period. And with exactly the same look, same aspects. I think it did only this kind of architecture, Ricardo
yes,
Bofill. And now a masterpiece, something that which is really a landmark in Paris,
yes,
Josephine.
the Défense district, which is so the business district in the west of Paris. One of its iconic building, if it's a big arch that you can see, and then we can see more in the next slide, um, which is actually an answer to the Arc de Triomphe that we saw earlier, because it's in the same perspective as the same perspective I've been talking about a few times. So the Louvre, the Garden, the Champs-Élysées, Arc de Triomphe, and this arch that finishes this urban perspective of Paris. So yes, it's a
And
big.
Van Brekelsen is a very unknown architect, and this is his masterpiece. There is a very nice movie, recent movie about this guy and this conflict with Andreu that finished the masterpiece because there is a full story around that,
Yes.
which is very interesting. This is a nice building, is it? No, Josephine, you
Yes,
like
it
this
is.
building?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Okay, sorry.
Um,
Now, a new period. We have to speed up a little bit. We
yeah,
are
I will
late,
go
Josephine. Yeah, yeah,
quickly.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Oh,
So
sorry,
Paris
this is me.
also,
Mm.
no, no, no worries. Paris
Mm.
also has a lot of projects of French and international star architects, so very famous architecture firms. This one is made by Jean Nouvel, so a French architect. It's the Arabic World Institute, which is very interesting because all the facades are made by with mechanical moucharabieh, which is the typical Arabic graphics. Then I show another building of Jean Nouvel, La Fondation Cartier. This is one of his, I think it's one of his, favorite project from Nouvel. It's a small museum, but it's all made by glass panels, and so you completely lose the notion of public space, private space, indoor, outdoor, and it's very nice.
Yeah, and which is a museum dedicated to contemporary art, and
Yes.
which is this is under renovation, no, at the moment.
Yes, but the new Fondation Cartier opened a few months ago
Mhm, mhm,
behind the Louvre, and it's a
mhm,
beautiful place to visit, made
mhm,
by
mhm.
Nouvel as well. Always Nouvel.
Another one by Jean Nouvel.
Yes, the Musée du Quai Branly that was ordered by Jacques Chirac, which is very nice because it offers a landscape promenade also through the museum. So it's indoor-outdoor space that is very interesting.
Mm, mm, mm. So
Um,
the museum is dedicated to native, what is called native art. So from the Polynesian art, African art, and so on and so on. So this is very polemic at the moment because we are giving back most of these pieces of art that was stored in the colonies, really. We have to say that. So if they want to give us, but also I want to mention that the gardens was created by Gilles Clément. That is absolutely magnificent garden. And Gilles Clément is known for designing gardens that are self-maintained. Zero maintenance is really the motto of Gilles Clément. And he has a good friend as well, which is Patrick Blanc from the same period, in the turn of the 20th century. Now he's 60, 70, 75, I think, Gilles Clément. And Patrick Blanc is very famous for this green wall, on the facades. And you have many, we could have shown that in this
yes,
presentation. Many, so this is him that's really invented this possibility to grow herbs and plants on the facades, right?
yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Jean Nouvel again. So La
Yeah.
Philharmonique de Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like music, I have to admit that the concert hall is incredible. The acoustic inside is it's a very, very nice experience. So it stands in the Parc de la Villette, so in the north of Paris. So it's in the
Mm-mm,
middle of the park. And
mm-mm. It did. It
yes,
did. So this is easy to get seats here. We can arrange that for you. And this is really, you have concerts, well, how do you say that? Philharmonic from all over the planet, with chefs from all over the planet coming here, playing in Paris. And this is really a place to experience once in a lifetime again. And Jean Nouvel, Réseau Piano again. Sorry,
yes,
Réseau Piano again. That was a masterpiece again
yes.
here.
The new civil court
Mhm.
of Paris, which stands in the north, in the periphery of Paris, but is a new landmark of the city. It's a beautiful, it's very beautiful building. Um,
Absolutely incredible. This is also we can visit it, despite this is really a civil court, so this is really dedicated to justice. But we can have a visit in some places, in some and visit terraces and so on. So this is really interesting. And Renzo Piano is just incredible, incredibly present. So he's Italian. Is it Italian? This guy, um, yeah, from North Italy.
yes. We also have a masterpiece of Tadao Ando, who is a very famous Japanese architect, known for his work with concrete and light, where light becomes almost a material in his buildings. So this is the Bourse de Commerce. It's a museum of Pinault's collection, so contemporary
Mm-mm,
art,
mm-mm.
which is absolutely incredible architectural experience and also
So
art.
here, this is a huge link that I want to do with Le Corbusier, because Le Corbusier really invented the way to use the concrete, brute concrete like that, with the and Tadao Ando reinvented, in fact, this trend, right? And you can see if you come to so, Tadao Ando did Le Louvre in Lens, among other pieces. Huh? Also, if you come to Château Lacoste in Provence, Tadao Ando has several pieces here in Château Lacoste that we visited together, Josephine, by the way, huh?
Yes.
In a very special day for us. And and again, a wall from Tadao Ando here.
Yes, this is very niche, but if you like Tadao Ando's experiences, this is a small meditation building he made in the UNESCO building garden. So it's very beautiful inside. You have a very meditative atmosphere.
Yeah, meditative.
Uh, American architect Frank Gehry
That just
did
passed away.
the Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton Foundation. In the Bois de Boulogne, which is a very nice museum. They always have amazing exhibitions, and its geographic location also is very nice because it's in the middle of the big park of in the West Paris. So there is
Mm-mm,
a game of lights, which is very, very nice.
mm-mm. This is just an incredible building. You have huge terraces as well. So if you climbed on the terraces, you can enjoy the view over Paris, over the Bois de Boulogne, and this is very nice. Frank Gehry also, I'm sure you know that Frank Gehry is the guy that designed, you recognize the opera in Los Angeles, the Opera House in Los Angeles, designed by Frank Gehry, as well as the museum in Bilbao, for example, as well. So many pieces all over the planet, and this one is really was the highest piece from Frank Gehry, I believe. No, I think so. Huh?
Yeah. It's one of his.
Mhm.
Well, maybe Bilbao is even bigger. I don't. I don't know, but it's yeah, it's one of its aspects.
In fact, I know the maître d'ouvrage that is in fact a friend of us in living in Aix-en-Provence. This is his highest, but
Okay.
Bilbao is way larger.
Ah, okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah, way bigger. Yeah, yeah,
to know.
yeah. And
This
this
is
one, yeah,
yeah, this is David Chipperfield. It's an architect that I really appreciate. Did this mixed complex of housing, hotels, offices in the Marais, in the center, yes, of Paris, which is very beautiful because it opens the public spaces in the building with this beautiful arch structure.
yeah, yeah. Where we revisit. This is really the revisitation. We revisit the architecture of the 16th and 17th century with all these buildings with arches like that. Huh?
Yeah.
It's very nice. Yeah. And now the new
Um,
generation. We are
yes,
now talking about your colleagues and you, Josephine.
yes.
Finally, it was time,
So,
huh?
so Paris is the city of France where it's the capital, of course, but it's the city where there's the biggest number of architects. So there is a huge, huge number of architects. It's crazy, and there is a very strong movement in the strong generation of architects that try to have a new way of building in a more sustainable approach with more ecological materials and yeah, this kind of
Yeah.
thematics. And this is a building I really like because it's made by massive stone, so the same stone as Haussmannian buildings, but in a very contemporary language and facade. So it's a housing complex in the 11th district, and all the details of stone cutting, sectioning, and is it's very beautiful. The next building is the first building built in raw earth material in Paris. So it's all made by wood, structural wood, and raw earth in the facades. It's also a housing complex, so it's very innovating for city as Paris, that is a very mineral city. Next one, I think it's the Wood Up Tower, which is the first tower entirely 50 meters, I think, tower that where all the structure is entirely made by wood. So it's a it's structurally very interesting. Um,
Which district is it,
sorry?
Josephine, this one? In which district is it?
I think it's in the 13th, but yes, 13th, I'd say.
Mhm.
I can precise it later if you want.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
And this is I really love this building. It's concrete, but it's made with tinted red concrete. It's a
Mhm.
housing complex in the 12th district. Very beautiful. And then there is also in Paris, so since it's a heritage city where demolition is not always possible, there is a strong movement of architects working on existing structures and restoration, renovation. This is a project of the firm I used to work for. It used to be an old printed factory that has been renovated into a hotel. And it's a very beautiful work and very challenging projects that are everywhere in Paris in the renovation thematic that are interesting. And I think the next slide is, yeah, this is one of my ongoing projects, which is also a strong renovation of um, how do you say that, Faubourian building, which are very traditional buildings from the old Paris before Haussmann. So it's a renovation with vertical extension of the building. So the two first stories you can see is the ancient building, and the third is the new construction. And it's a very political project because the Heritage Department of Paris don't want any intervention on those buildings because they're protecting the old Paris. So they want the old Paris to stay exactly the same way it used to be. So it was a lot of battle with the city, but it got admitted recently. Yeah, it's those projects are very strategic and political in Paris.
And this is your work
This is my
and your
work.
fight.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much. Emma, do we have any questions? Don't hesitate if you have any project, if any client around architecture. First, visit Paris with us. Come and visit Paris. We have amazing visits around architecture in Paris. You can see here, this is just endless. You can spend days, 1 or 2 days on Art Nouveau, for example. You can spend days on the 70s century. You can spend days on the Middle Age. You can spend days each time. So this is really endless. So this is a fantastic angle to visit Paris. Thank you, Josephine, for this presentation. I really hope that we have teased you guys, travel agents, and that you will talk about this presentation to your clients, and that will provide some solid seeds about how differently we can visit Paris sometimes, which is not only a museum. This is a city with living people and with a huge, amazing future, of course. Thank you, everyone. See you very soon in 15 days. Thank you, everyone. That was wonderful having you guys on this session. Goodbye.